Hi everybody, it's Friday, April 18th, and that means it's time for another Flosstube video. Hi, my name's Marissa. This is MKissa Creations on YouTube and on Instagram, and this is a Flosstube video. Flosstube is a little corner of YouTube that we use to discuss fiber arts, primarily cross stitch. And today I'm going to be talking all about cross stitch and what I've been up to over the last 2 weeks. The previous 2 weeks I did not have a ton of stuff to show you, and I feel like I went ahead and made up for it and have been committing myself to stitching at nights and just really enjoying seeing progress on my projects and like really wanting even more and more and more and more progress. So it's kind of snowballing and dealing with a very active stitchy bug rather than one that's hiding. If you've never heard of the stitchy bug before, the stitchy bug can leave. It's just your desire to stitch and like how much you want to put into your stitching at the moment. And sometimes even though you want to, like you're just not feeling it. And so my stitchy bug is, I don't know, it's running in circles and it's having a hard time focusing and also making plans, and it's making plans and it's focusing and then it's losing it. And it's kind of, I guess, akin to life right now. So I thought that I would show you what I've been up to and we'll chit chat about it. Thank you for everybody who's made comments on my previous videos. I really appreciate it. Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you're returning. I appreciate having you here. I know there are a lot of Flosstube videos out there right now, but I'm just really trying to stick to my 2 weeks of breaks and just making sure that I get back to you and show you what I've been working on. Let's see. It is a little bit of life stuff, nothing crazy. Nothing bad is happening at our house. It is President's week next, or President's, somebody else did that in their video. I think it was Missy. Patriots week is next week, and so the girls are off of school today as well, and then they have all next week off. Monday is Patriots Day, and we have Easter and Passover and a bunch of holidays all rolled in right now, so I'm enjoying that. Monday is also Marathon Monday, and the Boston Marathon runs on Patriots Day every year. Patriots Day is celebrated as a holiday in Massachusetts and Maine because Maine used to be a part of Massachusetts. And I think it celebrates Paul Revere's Midnight Ride, like that whole The British Are Coming ride. I guess I should probably double check that, but I think that that's what the holiday is, and that's why it's like so celebrated centrally here and not like amongst the whole country. But it's probably on your calendar, like if you have a calendar that's like pre-slotted with holidays, it should say it that it's on there, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. My mom would be very upset with me that I do not know that that is what it is. She's read to me out of enough guidebooks growing up that I should know the answer to that. And anyways, let's get to stitching. I keep looking at my stitching because I'm excited. So good things have been happening with stitching. One day I'll be prepared and have my board at the ready, but until that day comes, I shall feel around blindly for it and hope that I don't need to turn around. All right, that was as close as I was gonna get to finding it without fully turning this off. So I got a board. I'm showing you things that are all mostly bigger than this board, but this should help just keep you from seeing me behind my stitching. First things first, I had a new start. I talked about it in my last video because my last video was on the day that this pattern came out, and it is Lola Crow's Extraordinary Birds SAL. I went, after it came out, yes, on Saturday last week, after it came out, we were going up to Augusta, which is the capital in Maine, for a food show. It was all like local foodstuffs from around the area. And then since we were already halfway there and I needed new fabric for my new project, we decided to go up to the Crafty Grimalkin. And so I went up to go see Reese and hang out in her store for a little bit. I was good. Oh, I did. Gosh darn it. Oh, good, it's here. Okay. I was like, I have haul, but I didn't really get it out. So, okay. Whew. All right, I got the wiggles for some reason this week, and I guess I just haven't filmed in a while. I don't know, maybe my brain's in too many places, but everything's fine. Okay, so I didn't have fabric for the new Extraordinary Birds SAL because I want to do it on 40 count like I did with the Deadly Aquarium. And so I went up to the Crafty Grimalkin, and Reese had actually pulled the fabric that she was going to use and all of the DMC. So I had all the DMC to look at while I was selecting my fabric. And crazy, I think my fabric is really close to I stitched Deadly Aquarium on Frozen Fractals from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Steph, or Hand Dyed by Steph. And then Reese was like, I'm stitching this on Luna Moth from, is it Bestitch Me? I forget who it is. Oh, I'm terrible at Flosstuber. I think it's from Bestitch Me. So I'm stitching it on Luna Moth, which I feel like is just so close in color to the Frozen Fractals. I think it has a little bit less green in it, which I actually wouldn't have minded it being the same thing, but I already used the other half of my piece from Deadly Aquarium for another piece that I'm going to show you today. And so now I have started the Extraordinary Birds SAL. So I have my tablet today because I stitched on a lot of digital stuff this week. And I don't know if it was just because it felt like really handy to have it and it was just in that mood and just kept going. But so for the Extraordinary Birds SAL, for the frame, I have completed 1,266 stitches, which is 20.35% complete for the frame. I started at the bottom, and here is where I'm at. This pin these pins right here, so it's like 2 needles connected onto the same thing. I don't know how I'm going to be able to show you this. Let's see. They're kind of, so it's for counting. So these frames, like a lot of times, these right here, this is going to go up really high and there might not be a lot of anchor points. So these needles, it's 2 needles. I'm just going to show you while I'm not holding that up. Let's see if I can show you on this board. I actually got this from a Stitch, I think a Stitch Maine goodie bag. So it's 2 needles with thread, and then it has like a decorative bead thing on top. So the way that you use this is that you put your needle, this is like impossible to show. Okay, we're gonna try real hard. So like you put your needle in a starting point, probably near a stitch, and then, no, it's not gonna work. And then so like if you're counting, you're gonna put your needle in a stitch. And then when you're counting, you're gonna go like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's just pretend there were 10. And then you stick your needle in again, and then you take the other one out, and then you count the 10 more. So I don't know about, whoa. Sorry. Very excited today. Like I said, got some like weird yaws. I don't know about you, but when I'm trying to count stitches, like my eyes feel like they're crossing, I get distracted, there's children in my house talking, I've got a loquacious husband. So being able to count by tens versus trying to stare at something and hold my place and count to like 58 is like so much easier. So this is an invaluable tool. I don't know if Penny has these in her shop, but she's the daily stitcher, and that was where this initially came from. But I'm sure either you can like, because they're just regular needles attached to strings. So you could come up with this kind of contraption on your own. But I have found it to be very beneficial. All right, so that's what's hanging on here. I will, let's see, we'll just put it on the back so that they're not in the way. Okay. I got this at the Crafty Grimalkin too from Reese. So I've got this bottom part put in. I mean, we're at the 20% mark. I'm feeling pretty good about that. I need to pick this up again. I haven't picked it up for like another set of days of stitching. I just did my like initial, I'm gonna work on this right now, and then I kind of put it down and I got distracted by other things. So, oh, I got distracted by the weather. So like, we had a crazy like 1-day snow fest. It snowed all day long. It probably would have been like 7 inches if it accumulated, but it was like wet and it was warm out. And so it didn't, but it was still snowing and you couldn't really do much because it was like gross snow. Anyways, I have a precipitation day project that has been worked on quite a bit now because of the rain and snow. So this is Shores of Hawkran Hollow from Carriage House Samplings. It's on a 40 count doubloon. If you can't tell, I am a huge fan of 40 count. I really enjoy stitching with 1 strand of floss. So the last time I showed it to you, it was in the Q snap, so I couldn't really show you all of it. So I decided to take it out today and give it a little iron. So I have the first block done, and then I finished the second block during this most recent Wet Fest. And then I started the third block, and I was kind of, since I have a retreat coming up, I was thinking this has like a lot of water down here. And so I was thinking if I could get like I got the little waves in on the bottom and the outline of the block. I had a little extra black, so I did the corner of the next one. Got the fish done, but there's a fish and there's a mermaid and an anchor. I think it's fish, anchor, mermaid. And then there's like a top thing, but then it's like all fill in of one color. So I thought that might be some good retreat stitching. So we'll see if I can get back to this before next Friday, because that is when we head up to Augusta for the Library Stitchers retreat, which I am super excited for this year. I kind of got in last minute. I wasn't able to put myself like buy my way in originally, but they had a pretty long waiting list and I made it off. So if you're ever wanting to go to a retreat and you don't get in right away, or you can't like swing the funds, or you can't do that, put yourself on the waiting list, because a lot of times like people's plans change and things come up in life. And so you never know how, like, especially if your schedule is like, you got like some wiggle woggle room in there, like, and you can take vacation at a short notice, or you don't have a job and you can arrange childcare really quickly, like that kind of stuff. If that's available to you, put your name on that waiting list so that you can get yourself into some retreats. Retreats are like, it just warms your heart because you're there with a bunch of people that love doing the same thing as you. I can't speak enough about them. I really do like this size of retreat. It is a 155 people total, I believe. And so, or maybe it's more than that if you count the library stitchers. I'm not sure. But anyways, it's 150-ish people, and it's big enough and it's small enough. I mean, I do like our like more intimate stitching group when we do stuff and it's like 30 of us. That's just like a whole different feel. And then when there's like 10 of us, that's a different feel. But like this size retreat is comfortable for me. I say that I've also never been to a larger one. I'm a little intimidated by the 250, 350, those size retreats. I don't know, maybe someday, but not quite yet for me. Anyways, so I'm gonna see if I can do some retreat fill in on that, if I can get it to the point that that should happen. Then, let's see, next, kind of delving into haul. So Witchy Stitcher released a pattern that was previously Patreon only, and Stitching in Cambria, I think is his name, stitched the model for it, and I saw it and I was just like, yep, this is a thing that's gonna happen. So I knew I wanted to buy it, but I also have been really trying hard to work on my projects, and I love big projects, and I like getting them done also. I would like to get them in frames, but I'm gonna like talk out of this side of my mouth, and then I'm gonna talk out of that side. So I've sort of been trying to do this thing where I only have like one project from each designer going. Just remember that I just said that because we're going to talk about my lies later. But I have a Witchy Stitcher project in progress already, and it is a SAL, and it is old. And I just finished my other SAL, so I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy this chart. So it's this right here, which I feel like her Instagram pictures are better, but I can't get Instagram up on my tablet because I like, oh, that's so glary. Sorry, there's just a lot happening in my house. Anyways, it says the difference between medicine and poison is in the dose. And I work in a hospital with medical residents that are doctors, and so I don't have any art on my wall. Like I have like a neighbor that we sit back to back, and he has art on his walls and has like officially moved into the office, and I've been there even longer than him, and I have pictures of my family like on my bulletin board, but I don't have any art on the walls. And this just seemed like the right piece to go on the wall in there because it's like kind of dark and morbid. But also, if you've hung around a lot of doctors that work in a hospital setting, I guess you probably know that like it's part of how you deal with what they deal with every day. And so I think that this suits my position in the residency program. So that being said, that's part of my haul. I purchased the Witchy Stitchers new pattern, and then I got out my other Witchy Stitcher pattern, which is Cryptids. So this is where my Cryptids is at, and I worked on the Dover Demon. So they're right here. So I did their whole frame and started their little bodies, and then I brought the project to swim class, or to swim team, and then I totally forgot the pattern. I left the pattern at home on my printer, and because I didn't want to bring my tablet. I was kind of trying to have like screen free time, and it just didn't happen. So so I've got the Dover Demon, and then I think just 4 more. So I also worked on this last year at Library Stitchers, so I think this is like the time of year that I'm into this, even though I said like I'm not into Halloween things. These are not Halloween things, these are like spooky year-round things in my house and brain. So I need to finish the Dover Demon, and then I just need to finish these 4, and then that will be done, and then I can start on the dosage. I actually don't know what that pattern is called. I really need to look that up. But I don't want to get my tablet back out just yet. I'm going to get it out in a second so we can look at it. then and I'll tell you. But this is on a piece of 32 count, like Christmas Gold or something. It was from a Colour Cotten box when she did those once upon a time. And it is off center because of this modeling. I really wanted it to like feature heavily in my piece, which I'm hoping that it doesn't get like so covered up that it doesn't matter, because I've made kind of a problem for future Marissa in this border situation, but I don't think it'll be too bad. Like there's still enough, I don't know, I'll figure it out. I'm gonna probably end up framing this one myself, but. So, the fact that I like love getting thrift store frames, I really should leave myself more space on the edge. Again, talking out this side. Let's talk out that side in just 1 second. So that's where that is. I would like to put some more stitches into this so I can get to the other piece, because like I said, trying to minimize my same designer pieces and keep my whip pile somewhat under control by doing that. So whether or not that actually ends up being the case, because it also has to do with this, when I show you, I'll show you my other piece of haul, and then I'll show you what I've been lying about. So my other piece of haul is another Carriage House Samplings, and it is Stardust. We are Stardust is what it says. And yeah, I just love the tombstones. So again, spooky stuff. This is like another year-round spooky one for me, I think, even though this one feels a little bit more Halloween-y because of the fabric. I actually will probably do it. I actually have an Ada that I got from a friend that I think that this is gonna go on and look lovely, but it's more of the blue family than the orange family. I think I'm very into the blue family when it comes to picking colored fabrics versus neutrals. I lean towards aqua, I lean towards like blue greens, I lean towards, yeah, or I go like very natural, doubloon, this like Christmas gold, like these are more of this like brown family. All right, the other project that I picked up, and I had a big discussion with my husband about this, and we talked about me becoming a monogamous stitcher, which like is laughable. But over the last week, I have really put more time into this project than anything else, and I don't know that I've picked up anything else in between. So I did have like a week of monogamy, but I think that's about all I have in me, stitching wise. So I have been working on Fish and Ships from Long Dog Samplers. She released another new pattern today. I am not as super tempted with that pattern as I am with the companion piece of Fish and Ships. But if you'll remember, or I will let you know if you don't know, so here's me talking about this side of my mouth, I have 2 other long dogs going in addition to this one. I am also stitching Act of God, and I am also stitching Quinto Acuto. So I would like to have only one pattern by each designer going at a time, except for Long Dog. She gets, and I think Barbara Ann, I probably have more than one too. Yeah, I do, because I have All Creatures Great and Small. So, I mean, maybe if we like take BAPs out of the situation, then it's like kind of okay. And everything's fine. I mean, everything's fine anyways. There's no rules, right? Just the ones we make for ourselves and then promptly break. So this is where Fish and Ships is at. I'm stitching it with a Silks for You silk. It is like a deep turquoise. This is 40 count Frozen Fractals from Hand Dyed Fabrics by Steph. So last time you saw this, I had only the ship and the fish, and this amount, the same amount of border. So I stitched the crab, these fish, all of this like lower triangle, which also ends up kind of looking like a ship because there's another triangle on top that sort of looks like a sail. The base of this ship and this little flower dealy wop that's there. So, and if you have watched previous videos, I talked about perhaps making the crab red. There's another crab like further up, and then there's also a lighthouse. And I was like, oh, all of those things could be red. That would make sense. My other long dogs, I have done additional colors in, except for Act of God. That one, I mean, that one's only like a small start right now, so in comparison to how large the piece is. I did on the token, I put turquoise in with, or aqua in with my red. And so I thought about doing red for this. But then I made a big to-do about this crab not being red because red lobsters are dead lobsters and red crabs are dead crabs. So, because they're cooked. They don't, these, if you see a lobster in the sea and it is this color, the sea is hot and you are in the jacuzzi with the lobster. So this is one of my patterns. This is my, well, it's affectionately known as Dead Lobster Biscornu by me and Helen and maybe a few other choice people. But so I, you know, had this big, you know, discussion about what color to make this crab. And he's kind of like a rusty, I don't know, like a rusty gold. So after I made him rusty gold and made a big stink about him not being red, how could I go and put red crabs onto this? So I didn't. So this is, I will continue to hold this up so you don't have to watch the side of my face while I look. Well, maybe you still get some side of my face. I'll tell you how far done this guy is. Fish and Ships is, I've completed now 4,573 stitches, which is 27.79% complete. And I will tell you right now, because, okay, so, yeah, I mean, this is Frozen Fractals, this is Luna Moth. They're almost the same. I have the other half of this Luna Moth, and once this is done, I will buy the Fishy Goings On companion piece to this and stitch it with probably the same floss and have them live next to each other. And they will look very similar and almost the same, and I love that. All right, so as far as what I bought and as far as what I stitched, that's that. I have a little bit more haul, and it is special haul. So my husband's great aunt passed away recently. She was 104, I believe, and she lived a great life, and she had a very quick end, which I think is a blessing in itself after you've lived that long. But I got a package from my mother-in-law in the mail, and, well, our girls did. I think she sent some Easter goodies, but in the bottom of it, and this is, so Aunt Rita stitched the blue-bowed goose that's right there. She stitched that for my mother-in-law, and then my mother-in-law gave that to me, and she sent me a box of Aunt Rita's floss. So I have floss that I need to go through. Most of it is DMC. I feel like some of it's, I mean, I feel like it's older because I don't think she's stitched in quite a while because I think her eyesight kind of went a bit ago. But it is a lot of DMC and it's like organized. I don't know if Debbie did this or if that's how Rita had it. And then she had some floss away bags in there for me. And then this, oh, this is darning. This is for darning. So there's like darning yarn in here too. But there's a bunch of bags of DMC, and then this was the only one that's not. Embroidery Cotton Star 6 strand. I've never heard of it, but it's purple. It's my favorite color. So these are like the only ones that are different. There might be some like Coates and Clark and stuff. But then like she even knew the trick of like you take the little edge off and you put the, I don't know, or maybe, I don't know what this is. These are so small. Anyways, so here's the star embroidery. So I've never seen star embroidery cotton before. I don't know where they came from or where they went. Fast color, will boil, 9-yard pull skein. Do not remove band, pull the loose end. American Thread Company, Fall River, Massachusetts. Where did Star go? That would have been cool, having a thread company in Mass, so close by. Maybe they still exist. Do you know if they still exist? But anyways, so I got, and I didn't do that until right now. Oh. It smells like her house. The last time we went to California was primarily to visit her and my husband's grandparents, and to like kind of let them see the girls and how big they were. So anyways, oh, that's very special. All right, plans. I really hope in the next week to finish something. I don't know what it's gonna be. I really would like to like knock another thing off the list. So that's been, and I've been trying to touch whips. So that was what I've been doing. That was what I did to get to these projects, right? Other than my, other than the brand new SAL that I like had to start, and my Precipitation Day project, the 2 whips that I worked on were ones that I had not touched yet this year. So what I did was I went through my whip list and I was like, is any of this calling to me that I have not stitched on? I put a little asterisk next to each project as I stitch on it during the year. If you watch my whip parade, you will see how I keep my list. I didn't have it with me today, but I write a new list, a new whip list every year. So I have all my start dates, and then if I finish it in that year, I have a finish date, and then it doesn't get transferred to the next year's list. It goes on my finished list for that year, but it does not get transferred to next year's whip list. So in not getting transferred to next year's whip list, that means that like the only things on my whip list are active, current whips that I count in my whip pile. And so I put next to them an asterisk when I stitch on them each year. So I have not gotten to a good chunk of my whips because there are, I think there were 30-ish when we did the whip parade. So I have not stitched on 30 different projects yet this year. My goal is always to stitch on every single one of my projects at least once each year, and I failed miserably last year. So I am really trying to keep that goal in the forefront of my brain and pick up projects that I haven't stitched on yet this year. I have a Night Spirit Studio project that I can finish. So that might be the one that I finish because it's on black, and I might like to use that black for the new Witchy Stitcher project that I just purchased. And I think I was like doing the math on, Fish and Ships, and I was like, I have to stitch like 1,000 stitches a day to finish that before, when I was doing the math. I had to stitch 1,000 stitches on it a day to finish it either before or at Library Stitchers. And while it would be super cool to finish a long dog at a retreat, I don't know if I have that amount of stitching in me. It does go fast because it's one color. Some areas are very finicky, like a lot of, you know, this was a lot of counting, but then you have areas like over here where this is very solid. So especially like when I get up to that, there's a whale, like when I get up to the whale, you know, is that gonna be a, this is, wait, let's see, so like when I get up to this whale, like that's a ton of block stitching. And then this sea monster down here that I need to do, that's a lot of block stitching. That's not going to require a ton of counting. So I don't know. And then the border is, it's 2 stitches wide. So like that's a lot of the, that like is a good chunk of stitches. That's like a huge percentage, even though it doesn't seem like it, of the pattern. So like, is it doable? It kind of is. Then I knock a long dog off my list, but then I probably would like almost immediately add another one. So one of my office mates is a cross stitcher also. And I was like showing her the poison medicine one. And she was like, ugh, there's so many projects to stitch. And she's a newer stitcher. And I'm like, welcome. Welcome to our club. Welcome to our insanity. I mean, I know not everybody has a ton of whips, and maybe it stresses people out to have a lot of whips. And if it stresses you out, then I'm sorry. It doesn't stress me out. I like to have the goal of working on them. Sometimes it seems like, oh, I won't get to it or blah, blah, blah. But I like picking up a project that like already has work in it. And I just get to like expand on that and like make it bigger. I think the only thing that stresses me out in cross stitching, and I will share this with you, and I'm curious as to what stresses everybody else out in cross stitching. It's more about like yourself and learning yourself. I won't say like other people's whip situation. I don't care. You do you. The thing that stresses me out, and I love my full coverage, but when I like put a good chunk of time into a full coverage, like I get 4,000 stitches done on full coverage, and then it's like 1.2% of the pattern or something, or even less because it's, you know, a 368,000 stitch project. And so I finished like this, what feels like an enormous amount of stitching, and either you can't tell that I like really did all that much, or I'm like, I look at a pattern like Fish and Ships where I'm like, man, 4,000 stitches is like, that's another 25%. Like I've just put myself halfway there versus this like small amount that it's on the, and so that's, while that stresses me out, it also is why I have a bunch of whips, because I can kind of decide like, do I want what I stitched tonight to feel like really impactful on my piece, or am I just here for the process? And I think it goes back to the progress versus process stitcher. So some days I am feeling like a process stitcher where I'm just enjoying doing what I do and getting that stitching done. Some days I really need to be a progress stitcher. So I'm gonna work on something that has little motifs that I can count as finishes when they're done. I'm gonna stitch on something that has much less total stitches so that I can either get a finish, or I can get like, I can feel like I really made progress on this because I just had like 2 days to stitch. If I have like an 8-hour day to like sit on my tail and do nothing, like I might be in a processy mood. But sometimes you misjudge what mood you're in. And then you look at those 4,000 stitches you did and you went, I could have got something so much more done on another piece. Anyways, so what stresses you out about your own stitching? We're not talking about other people. We don't talk about other people. Not in my comments, at least. You can talk about other people if you really want to. And maybe my stitching stresses you out. And my, you know, eccentricities of where I'm stitching and when I'm stitching might stress you out. But what is your like stress factor with your own self on stitch? Is it that your fabric's unorganized? Is it that you don't have fabric that's the right count? I don't have a fabric that's the right count a lot of times. And so like I have fabric that I purchased that I'm like, oh, this is kind of like, meh, meh. Like, I don't know, should I have this still? Am I gonna use it? Maybe when my eyes get bad, then I'm gonna need, you know, 32 count instead of my precious 40 or 36 count. Is it that your floss is spread out into 9 zillion projects and you don't know how to get it all back? Is it that you just buy floss and put it in a bag somewhere in your house and you don't know where it is? Like, what are your little like things? Like, can we fix them? Do we need to? I don't know that we do. I think we just need to like recognize in ourselves. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to recognize in me so you can maybe feel okay about your thing. But it's a hobby, it's supposed to be fun, and I hope it is bringing you joy, because I think you can tell that it brings me joy, and I really do love my projects and I love my stitching. And I hope you're having the best week available to you, and I will see you in 2 weeks after I've been to a retreat to check back in. Bye.